Good afternoon. I hope your day has been great because mine has been okay. But it was something on my mind, you know what I'm saying? So I was saying to myself, you know what? I think today we're going to come out, we're going to have to rock the Democratic blue today, because I know it's a lot of great Democrats out there, or actually people who vote Democratic. So, let's talk about it because, you see what the title is and everything. But just as usual, let's walk on back and give a little bit of history to things. So, back in around 1912, and all of this stuff is Googleable, all right, 'cause that's what I do. Um, Theodore Roosevelt wanted to run again for another term, not consecutively, but a third term outside of the president he already had. So they was like, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. So that didn't work. So then around 1947, and this is the 22nd Amendment, around 1947, Congress also did the same thing and said, you know what? Nah, we're not having it. We're not having all of this, these long-term things like we're emperors. Because speaking of emperors, I watched a really good movie last night. I watched Gladiator 2. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because, you get to see, and anybody who's seen any of those movies, Gladiator, the first one, 300, you know that you got some guys that get a little wacky once they get ultimate power, all right? Such as an emperor, like Nero back in the Roman days, who they said was really out there, all right? But we're starting to see that now in modern times. So over the weekend, he was asked, the president that is, he was asked about, hey, look, well, what do you think, President, about you doing another term, having another term? And so he says, well, we can't think about that right now. We got a lot of stuff going on. We've done so much, and we basically still have 4 years, right? So from face value, you might look at it and say, well, you know what I mean? He's just doing that just to save face or whatever. But no, believe me, between him and his cronies, they are on a mission to have him be a third term president. And not only to be a third term president, I think that, let's see, by that time he'd probably be 82 or 83 years old. I think that they want to keep him in as long as they possibly can. So once again, let's do some history. Let's look at the backstory of it. So Vladimir Putin over in Russia. So Vladimir Putin used to be a KGB agent and a special agent over in Russia. So what he did starting back in around 2000 was that he became president slash at some points prime minister. So now this started back in 2000, right? So he's done things where he's so it's kind of like he stepped down because at that time they did have consecutive limits in Russia. The same as here in America, except just 2 terms period, consecutively or not. So what he did was, which was smart on his behalf, he kind of basically did it for his 8 years. Then he stepped down and said, you know what? I'll be the prime minister. I'll serve under whoever. And then basically, even though he was serving under, he was actually that guy. So let me give you the correlation with Trump slash Elon Musk slash Vladimir Putin. So Elon Musk is worth around, I don't know, I think some estimates are around, at one point was $417 billion. Okay? Vladimir Putin. Okay? Vladimir Putin. Now this is based off of some research on Forbes.com. Vladimir Putin is suspected, possibly, because nobody knows the exact number, but Vladimir Putin is, you ready for this? Ready for this? Worth around $200 billion. That's right, 200 billion with a B, right? So you're starting to get the correlation. Trump himself is a billionaire, I guess. He hangs with Elon Musk, who is the richest man in the world, and Putin, who is probably the richest leader in the world. And now here's what Putin has done. Putin has said, hey, listen, you know what? Until I die, nobody else will have power. Nobody. So he's essentially been in power for the last 25 years. So this is the reason why when we decide to vote on people, when we decide to, and I get it, some things you just can't get over, and believe me, this is definitely no sexist shade, but it's unfortunate that both times he was able to beat a woman. So, and I've always felt like this, whereas is that the country is more sexist than it is, well, I don't know about racist, but it's definitely a sexist country, and people are not in line with seeing a woman as president. That's why I think that you've seen, even with this last margin of victory, regardless as to how you feel about Kamala, I still don't think that the country is ready to give over the reins to a woman, unfortunately. So this goes to bullying. So like a lot of our kids, or kids who have, we've gone through it even as younger people, where we may have been in school or, and we were getting bullied. So you get bullied by somebody, right? And you know how you ever thought to yourself like, yo, like I cannot wait until either I get out of the school or the bully gets out, or what's the other thing you got to do? Sometimes with the bully, you got to start trying to bully the bully. So even if it takes a few of y'all to get together, you got to start trying to bully the bully. And see, that's what this is going to take. This is going to take some strategy. And I know how a lot of times with Democrats, because, talk to a lot of them and everything, because I am one. And, people get upset. And it's a lot of emotions evoked from losing the election. All right. Even the first time when it was, because I was in total shock. This time I wasn't as much shocked. I was as disappointed, but not as in much shock as I was in 2016. But what I will say is this. Either way, the same way they did it is the same way we do it. You got to get some strong people in there. You got to get some strong men and women that say, hey, look, enough of this already. We're not going to just sit in and listen to State of the Unions with paddles. We're going to stand up. We're going to stand up for something the same way we would if we were a bully. Like the funny part is that what do you tell your kids when they go to school and somebody picks on them or somebody's bullying them? Now, I know most times, especially growing up in the city, the rule of thumb is that they hit you, you better hit them back, or I'm going to make you go back out there again. So, okay, you get hit in the face, right? You get hit in the face with a Trump pie, right? That's the way we'll look at it. You get hit in the face with a Donny pie, right? But the thing is that what you going to do now? Are you just going to look at the TV every day and say, hey, this dude is a effing, what are you going to do? Like, what are we as people going to do? Or do we just say, hey, look, you know what? There's nothing I could do. I've already voted. Who am I? This, there's nothing I can do. The one thing you could do is that something I also need to do too, because these potholes around here are getting ridiculous, is that we really have to, it has to start on a grassroots local level where you got to start holding people more accountable for what's going on, whether right or wrong. You got to start holding people more accountable, right? Because we go in there, like I know I've been guilty of it, go inside of the voting thing and just hit Democrats straight down. Boom, Democrats straight down. Now, I'm not one of these kind of people that's going to run around saying, well, what have Democrats done for black people lately? Or what have Democrats done this? No. I got my feelings on that, but that's not for me what the point is right now. The point is now is that how long are Democrats going to allow themselves to get bullied by a guy who does not see most best people's interests at heart and is more based off of power and influence and keeping people around him that not only look like him, but people that don't, like, even look at the cabinet, right? Because, sometimes people are accused of race baiting or going off on, these different tangents. But look at how even his cabinet is constructed. Look at who are the people that once he's in there in a position of power, who does he have around that aren't just token people? See, so to me, that's one of the clear indicators of this is how a person feels about you. So if he feels like he needs to have the most intelligent minds around him, if he feels like he needs to have the best minds around him, why don't any of them look outside of how he looks like? Why don't they reflect really the diversity of what America is? A lot of good questions. But back to the bullying thing. So you send your kid to school and you say, hey, look, you know what? Don't let that person bully you. How are we going to deal with this? How are we going to deal with this bully? Do we need to talk to his or her parents? Do we need to have a sit down? What do we need to do? But in the back of your mind, what are you hoping? You hoping your son, your daughter will really just go and knock him out, don't you? You're really hoping that. Yo, just go. I don't even want to have to speak to his parents, her parents. Just go knock him out. And then, we'll sort the other stuff out. Now, of course, you may not tell your kids this directly, but, that's how you want to deal with it in your mind. And you hope that that's the way it works out in your mind. But you know how it goes. 90% of the time, you're sitting down around the table with the principal, the other set of parents. Oh, we're not going to do this again. We're not going to do it again. Such and such and such and such, right? Because at some point, regardless as to whether you're young or whether you're older, you're going to deal with bullying in some sense. There's no getting around it. Because as I said, I watched, what's the name of this movie? I watched Gladiator 2 again last night. And you know what it is? It really is survival of the fittest. Just Democrats can't, be the last at the party to think that way. You have to step up and say, hey, look, we're not tolerating the bullying anymore. It's not just about being emotional. Like how we talked about yesterday, the crash out dummies. It's not just about being emotional. It's about being strategic and saying, hey, you know what? We're going to find a way, because you know why? We've done it before. And guess what? We can do it again. So, hey, until the next time, make sure you live life. Don't let life live you.